eyes and ears on things that defy, confound, mystify, and even melt your brain. Admission is free, liability is waived. So buckle up, kiddies. It's time for The Weird Show. What's up, everybody? This is That Weird Show, the Freak Show podcasting, and I, of course, the captain of this cruise of chaos, as this may end up being later on tonight, because I've got some interesting conspiracies to talk about this time, and some of you may have heard of them, some of you may have not, but nonetheless, I am one that is always prone to look for trouble where I shouldn't be looking. But, when you got people that are trying to hide things, you can't expect people to just sit quietly by. So before I bring on my guest tonight, I do want to make a couple of real quick shout outs. And the first one is that this show is streaming on Parapost Network Central. If you don't know what Parapost is, that is a podcast page that you can find on Facebook. You'll find all kinds of podcasts, not just ones about conspiracies, but also about movies and TV shows and a wide range of other things. So take a swing by Parapost. If you have a show of your own, reach out to them and they will be more than happy to help you get set up to stream your show to this page and reach a whole new audience. Also, that I am working on a side venture called Street Noise Design. This is where I do graphic logos, graphic design, logo design, anything for digital content that you may need, Facebook ads, video element, you name it. If you need some help, just reach out to me on Facebook, and I'll be more than happy to help you reach your goal from a visual perspective. All right, now, this person, I've had him on my show before. You know who he is. You've heard us talk a lot of smack. You've heard us stir up a lot of issues, and I'm sure if you were to combine our laundry list of haters, you probably would get a giggle every now and then too. Just I know I do. But ladies and gentlemen, the man behind, well, I'll let him talk about his project when he gets down here, because this is his gig. He's got some things going on with his wife, Mackenzie, and their friend, Felicia. So, ladies and gentlemen, Matt Barron.
What's up, everybody? What's up, brother?
Going on.
You are completely right. The laundry list of haters that you and I have combined. Yeah. And you know what, though? It's fun. It's fun because that means to me we're at least making our voices heard, number one, and two, we're stirring people up and we're making them think, and it's fun.
Me personally, I don't care because I just see it as, in one way, free advertisement.
Exactly. There is no such thing as bad advertisement. Mm-mm.
Yep.
You get some kind of exposure. Screw it. People will at least know who you are.
For sure.
It must have been fate today because I even dressed for the occasion without even knowing. Because, by the way, folks, Aaron reached out to me about 2.5 hours ago, about coming on the show, and I didn't even change or anything. I've been in this all day, but I've got my Global Ghost Hunt shirt on. And I've got my new paranormal consultant shirt on. So I didn't even think about it. I just threw it on and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, I guess I'm doing this.
Right.
But I appreciate you having me on, brother.
No problem. Speaking of shows, you got a new one in the works now.
We do. My wife, like you said, the Wicked Queen, Mackenzie, and our girlfriend, Felicia, who's in the audience with us right now. We're working on something called Creepy Conspiracies. It's basically kind of like this, what we're doing, but a little more in depth. Now, Mackenzie, as most of you know, is the Wicked Queen. She loves her cryptids. She loves cryptids, cryptozoology, all that stuff. So she's going to be focusing on that. I myself, as you guys know, I love the paranormal. I love just the randomness. I love a little bit of everything. So I'm going to be kind of that cornerstone with that. And what's awesome is Felicia is brand new to this field. So she doesn't know a whole lot and she's just learning, and she has that thirst and she wants to learn more, and she eventually wants to become a streamer. Now she does a couple of her gaming stuff, but she wants to get more used to it. So best way to do it. just get out and do it.
Right. So, Felicia, if you're listening, you have my sympathy. Just saying that right off the bat.
I'm in
'Cause I
trouble.
know
There's,
him.
I'm going to be in trouble. I got two women now that are going to be throwing crap at me.
And I believe this is Mr. Fedora here.
That is the fedorable one. All hail the fedora.
So yeah,
Oh.
you know,
I can't.
and I also did. Yeah. Okay. Uh-oh.
Who knows? See, there she is. Wicked Queen's in bed, so I think I'm safe from her. I think.
Right. So
Oh, stop it. Stop it with the deck list. If you find any value in this.
right, for sure.
Fedora. I love them.
All right. So I at first I mentioned that, you know, the bulk of this show is going to be about a conspiracy regarding lasers. And because there's a few of them, two of them are happening, could be happening right now, and one could be happening in the near future. And the first two we'll talk about. All right, and I'll actually start with the very first one. And this goes back a couple of years to the Lahaina fire.
Mm.
You know, we've heard some of the story that's come out of Lahaina about how objects that were painted a certain shade of blue were not affected.
Yes.
How the fires just started in some of the most unusual ways in the most unusual places. But then there's also the issue where they had no water.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so strange that it was almost like it was planned out. Now, before I go any further, I do have to say that most of what I talk about, what we will talk about, is speculation.
Mm-hmm.
These are all theoretical.
Yes.
Now, we will make it, you know, a point that if something is proven factually, we will say that it has been proven. Otherwise, everything we say is speculation.
Just our opinions, folks. That's it.
Right. And so, with that being said, my thought is that it's unusual that it almost seems like it was planned out, because how is it that a place that has water all of a sudden doesn't have water right before a wildfire?
Well, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Well, and along with that, they had, I can't remember if it was the National Guard or the Navy, but they had a military division on standby that could have helped, but they were told to stand down. And then they told all the volunteers who had boats that were showing up to help people get off that island were being turned around.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me that there isn't something strange with all of that.
I believe it was National Guard. I
Okay.
think you're right with that one. I do know there is a naval presence there in Hawaii, but if I remember correctly, I think around, and you're talking back in 2023, but I believe most of the base was on an exercise. So most of their resources were spent over, I believe, in the Pacifics. But don't quote me on that. I believe that's what happened, but I know the National Guard was called. But, and I hate saying this because it takes the humanity out of me, and I feel so guilty for saying this, but yeah, natural disasters, and we'll just call it like that for right now. A disaster make money. They make money. Look at Katrina. If you don't believe me, Katrina made billions, not millions, billions. And it still does. They still have people that donate. I mean, here in Pennsylvania, we had a flood back in, I think, 2011 that destroyed a lot of homes in one of our towns nearby. Insurance companies refused to pay it for the longest time. They had excuse after excuse after excuse until something happened again. And all of a sudden, oh, well, here's some money.
Yep.
You know, so I think, and we'd have to look back and look into it, but it always seems like a natural disaster happens whenever there's a big political change that happens or a war.
Mhm.
a war starts out. And I'm not saying they're controlling the weather. I know it's a theory out there that the government is
Yeah.
controlling the weather, but they can barely control their mouths and their wallets, let alone the weather. So good luck with that.
Right.
But that's fact. But but
Pretty much.
smart ass. I'm just being a smart ass, people. But it just seems like to me that every time there's a change in the political stage, something like this happens.
Right.
Always. So I don't really. I would, let's just say this. I hope to God, or whatever deity you pray to, that the government isn't involved with setting like those fires or the other fires that are going on. I hope to God that they're not connected. I really do, because number one, you want to see a purge night, we would give them a purge year.
Yeah.
We would make January 6th look like, a high school party.
Make it look like Reading Rainbow.
Magic school bus time, bitch.
Yeah, pretty much. But I definitely know. I agree. I can certainly speak about the profit when it comes to natural disaster, because I was in Louisiana the year Katrina hit,
Mm.
and I was working at a factory, and we made all the stuff for those huge metal pole barns. I mean, we made the red iron frame, we made the panels, the trim, everything.
Mm.
And when Katrina hit, we were told to be ready. And sure enough, after this hurricane blew over and they started talking about relief and reconstruction, this company I work for, I'm not going to say its name because I don't know if they really they want to be associated with the show. And I don't. And there are some people that work there. They may not be there anymore, but there are some good people there that I don't want to jeopardize their livelihood.
Makes sense.
But I work for this company, and in the month of October, we had pushed out so much steel. I mean, we're talking millions of tons of product.
Mm-hmm.
Because that company was the closest company that could provide the amount of material that was needed for the reconstruction. And this was in northwestern Louisiana.
Yeah.
My schedule, Monday through Friday, was 14 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday could be 16, Saturday could be 12, maybe not. And then Sunday, even though we were supposed to have a day off, we were still expected to show up and work at least 10 hours on Sunday. By the time October was over, they had made so much money, they were able to put a $2 million ad in NFL in that part of Louisiana that year during the Super Bowl. So disasters make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
No problem.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in connection with this whole thing with what you were saying with Lahaina and eventually LA here, because I got some things that will probably piss you off because it's kind of what you said about it being connected.
Oh, I'm already. I'm going to forewarn everybody right now, and this is my warning. If you know, you know. The sleeves are going up for this one. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm not happy.
Which is why I have that streamer across the bottom of the screen here.
Pay attention.
Nathan Hardister from Hardister Designs. He's another graphic artist you can reach out to.
What's up, Nathan?
And
how you doing, brother?
We also have Neil Mao. Neil Mao is a friend of mine. He's one of the founding members to one of my old paranormal investigation team. But he's also been working with me on From the Wild podcast.
I love Neil. Neil's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And so when I start looking back at Lahaina, when I first heard the conspiracies about the use of lasers back then, because of the blue object, the way it started, the way it spread, the secrecy, how there was even parts of Lahaina where they put up fences tall enough so that you couldn't just drive by and take pictures of what was going on.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't there some kind of abnormalities seen over that area a couple weeks prior to the fires?
Yeah, there were some speculations about that. as well as what the,
Holy shit. Sorry to interrupt you, brother. We just had someone pop into the room that I haven't seen in a long time.
actually we got
RGB
a
Paranormal.
couple. You know,
Yeah,
we have Abyss Paranormal,
love Vicky. Vicky
and
and
then
her
we
team
have
are awesome.
RGB Paranormal.
Out of the woodwork. What is up? Hope you guys are
Yeah,
doing well. Miss y'all.
yeah.
Holy hell. Sorry, folks. I just haven't seen RGB in forever. It's like, holy
Yeah, I mean,
shit.
well, I mean, there's been some shakeups in the paranormal community, so people kind of lost contact. But hopefully,
Mhm.
you know, some of these issues will smooth themselves out because the paranormal is one community that just does not need to be divided.
No. Hell no.
Um,
Hell no. But we were saying to catch up on everybody, we're talking about, if you remember back in 2003, I can't even say it, but the fires in Hawaii, the one to begin with now. How do you say that?
Lahaina.
Lahaina.
Yep.
That sounds Jewish to me. It's like Lahaim. But anyway,
That sounds like a drunk way of trying to talk about someone Heidi.
well, never mind. Never mind. It's too early in the show for that. But but no, I just find it kind of interesting that weeks leading up there, don't I know it, but leading up to it, there was a lot of these UFO sightings coming
Right.
from the Hawaiian Islands, or weird heat waves, or cold fronts, or there was something going on. I know there was definitely some UFO activity around that time. But I know there was some other stuff going on too. But it's just weird to me. Weird to me. Andrea.
Uh, well, I heard theories about that. Thanks for stopping by, Andrew. Or Andrea, sorry. Um, well, her profile pic looked a lot like a friend of mine who's a guy, and his name is Andrew. Uh,
Not trying
but
to dig that hole.
when when I was first looking into the Lahaina fire, and you hear about all these things that just it's usually associated with natural disasters. The one thing that I find very unusual is not so much as the fire happening. It's not so much as water not being there. I'm not even really that surprised by the you know speculations of UFOs. What got me though is because with every natural disaster that I've ever come across, there's always been some sort of precursor or some sort of anomalous event that happened before regarding animals. You didn't see any of that with the Lahaina fire.
No.
So I'm inclined to think that this isn't as natural as what we're being told.
And I agree with you. And I just, to me, the time frame of it, and like you said, for some reason, blue roofs. I don't know, these UFO sightings. Apparently, these odd
Uh,
happenings.
Real quick, if Fedora's asking me what are they called, because we can't call them UFOs anymore.
Non-human biologics. I
Not even that.
remember.
They are
No,
unidentified aerial phenomenon,
I don't
UAP.
care. They're not a human biologics. Damn it, that's what it's gonna be. I'm gonna stand by that. I'm gonna get a shirt that says that I'm a non-human biologic. I know. I love Vicky, Andrea. Your team is just freaking awesome. I love you guys.
But you were saying, with the whole thing with the animal.
Yeah. To me, I think there would have been something else. Something
Right.
else going on. I mean, there should have been something more. To me, I agree with you. It feels like there's something missing from everything, everything leading up to the fires themselves. There's just something that just doesn't feel right about it, and we all know what I mean by, you see these news reports, or you see these stories or whatever, and it just doesn't sit right with you. You want to believe it, but you can't. And to
Yeah.
me, back then, and I know this is only like 2 years ago, but to me, I've seen what fires can do, I don't know if you guys remember back in 2007 where San Diego had their fires.
Mm-hmm.
How big that was. I was there. I was stationed in Coronado, which is right across from San Diego. I could see the fires. It looked like it was snowing. That's from the ash. I know how quickly those things can spread, and I know how dangerous those things can be. To me, you're on an island and you only have a number one, luckily, thank God, 102 people were only killed by that. Something happened. And to me, what I find really disconcerting is how quickly it was forgotten about.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, like Katrina and all this other stuff, we were hearing about it for years.
Yep.
Hell, we're still hearing about Katrina. But the fires? I don't know. It was like it happened, and then it's like, oh, well, let's forget about that. Let's move on to something else.
Right.
And I think you and I have said this before, with a lot of these disasters and a lot of these political bullshit, it's look over here while my hand does this. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's happening with a lot of these different scenarios. You're from San Diego? I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I am so sorry. Which I have to ask, Andrea, what part of San Diego? Coronado, Rancho, El Cajon, La Mesa. Hey, I'm still awaiting test results. And you know that. Oh shit, now we're in trouble. You wanted the hornet's nest. Well, there's the hornet. El Cajon? Okay, I lived in El Cajon. Actually, right across from the bowling alley. Yes, folks, leave me alone. We're networking here. I miss El Cajon. But yeah, no, it again, brother, it's one of those things where you don't hear anything about it. It's like, oh, it's happening. Oh, fires are out. Everyone's happy. Okay, move on with your lives.
Yep. And also another familiar face here, Raymond Newsom from Newsom Paranormal. Of course, some of us refer to him as Laggy, and for good reasons. You know, now we're going to switch over to the LA fire because, first we heard it was a natural disaster. Then we started to hear that, it was started by some people, and right away they started using the term, sleeper arson cell.
Yes.
And okay, that would seem believable. Then I started hearing, well, now we're starting to see the same thing in LA that we saw in Lahaina. Blue objects surviving, fires popping up in places they shouldn't. Whether it's a person or a laser beam, the way these fires are starting doesn't really seem to line up with what a lot of people have been reporting from their end. And that's the other problem with that was with both Lahaina and the LA fire. The mainstream media tells us one thing, and then the people who are actually living out there are telling us a very different story.
Oh, yeah.
But we're told that they're the conspiracy theorists and that mainstream is the one that has all the right information because they get their information from, you guessed it, government agencies.
Or my favorite line that these people say is reliable sources.
Yeah.
To who? Reliable to who? Where's the backup? Where's the facts on this? These reliable sources. I mean, I love our community to death, but hell, we could say Raymond's a reliable source. Is that true?
Yeah. Well,
love you, brother. I couldn't resist. But you know what I mean? There's nothing to back it up. There's nothing solid to back it up. That's like saying that food is good. What food? What food is good? There's nothing. And absolutely, Andrea, San Diego is expensive as hell, but it is beautiful.
Yeah. But, you got that. But now here's the other thing. This is what I was talking about before when the idea of if you take away a political side and just focus on something else, it still involves a laser. But we're talking about big tech now.
Yeah.
I've been hearing this theory pop up throughout, different outlets and places. And even my wife, who doesn't pay attention to any of this crap, is hearing about this. for years, big tech has been talking about, having smart city, and LA allegedly was slotted to be one of them. Now, the story or the theory goes is that when big tech realized how much money it was going to take to upgrade or update the pre-existing system, the infrastructure that's there now, it would cost a horrendous amount of money. So the theory is start a natural disaster, let it burn to the ground, and start from the ground up.
Because again, folks, like we said, what makes money? Disasters.
Right. Well, see, not only are they going to make money off of the disaster, but they're going to make money off of any type of asset liquidation, because a lot of people are going to sell their land for dirt cheap, which is where big tech can come in, swoop in, clean the place up, and start building a smart city with a whole new infrastructure in place.
Mm-hmm.
And that really, I mean, I myself, I want to make money. I wouldn't mind being rich, but I can't bring myself to do it at the expense of somebody else's livelihood.
And I agree with you. And it's funny because, and I know Andrew's here, and I don't know if she got up that far up to the LA area, but I've been to LA. I've been to LA. I've been to Studio City. I've been to Pasadena. I've been to all that area. And everybody thinks Hollywood and LA are this big, imaginative, great place. No, it's literally a city surrounded by ghetto. I mean, Studio City is where most of the producers and big names and everybody else they live, like, who do pretty well. But where you're talking, it's really literally nothing. Sorry, I'm getting a bunch of stuff. I'm getting all these notifications, but
yeah,
and I believe it was Markiplier from YouTube. If you guys don't know who Markiplier is, look him up. He's great, and I highly suggest Drunk Minecraft.
Oh man, I watched his "Try Not to Laugh" compilation.
Oh God,
the crap he finds.
I know. But in all seriousness, with Markiplier, he actually came on and he told exactly what was going on. And to me, nothing against like Jacksepticeye, Sean. Sean said his own piece about what happened in LA. But what Mark said is absolutely right. Everybody thinks that LA is this big, fancy place. No, it is. There are people literally struggling every single day. Some worse off than what we are.
Right.
I mean, you're talking, when I tell you folks that the homeless in those cities, it's disgusting. They literally have, it looks like a campground. Think of a campground, but make it full of trash and dirt and all that other crap. That's what this looks like. And these people are struggling hardcore. That's LA. That's what that is.
Right. Well,
and to me, we're not seeing a lot of feedback from these big names that are losing their property. To me, if there was something if there was nothing going on, who do you think they'd be interviewing? People like these big names, big time celebrities losing their homes. For one, Paris Hilton apparently lost her home. Why aren't they interviewing her? Why aren't they getting in front?
I will say this. There was one celebrity that did kind of get pointed out, but he didn't get interviewed for it. Mel Gibson.
Yes.
His home burned down while he was on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah.
Now, interesting thing, Joe Rogan pretty much said the same thing about LA when he first moved over to Dallas. And he was talking about the problem where, when he first, before the homeless crisis took over LA, when he was going to a studio, yeah, you might see a little bit of, rough side, and Skid Row wasn't that far away. But it got to the point where every day he went in, you couldn't tell where Skid Row stopped.
Yeah.
And where it started, because it was just everywhere. Needles everywhere, paraphernalia everywhere, people passed out all over the place, fecal matter and garbage everywhere. So that kind of, what happened with Joe Rogan. LA just got so bad that he left. And it wasn't just him. But now I'm kind of starting to wonder if maybe all of this is to drive people out. Because again, if you have a big tech company that wants to completely rebuild the whole city, the less people you have to deal with in terms of trying to buy the property from them or trying to acquire the property through the court, the less people you have to deal with, the better.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look at let's go back to what Mel was saying on Joe Rogan's show. If
Mhm.
there was a TikTok, which I don't know what's gonna that we'll talk about. We can talk about that later, but if you want, but I saw a thing on TikTok where he just leaned over and whoever he was sitting next to just goes, "My house is burning down."
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I smell, no lie. If the Wicked Queen was listening or watching or here, she would tell you, I woke up this morning. I thought something was in the house was on fire. I was running through the house trying to find it. And
Mhm.
this was at 5 a.m. Thank God there wasn't anything, but I swear I could smell it.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to say, oh, my house is burning. I don't care if I have 2 or 3 houses. I don't give a shit. If my property is being damaged, I'm going to be pissed. And to
Right.
say it nonchalantly, it's kind of like the whole conspiracy with George W. on 9/11.
Oh
Just
yeah.
no reaction. Just okay, yeah, my house is burning. Yeah, you know.
Mhm.
And I have to get this off my chest because this has been pissing me off. And actually, I wanted a little sneak preview to creepy conspiracies because this is what I was going to start off with. To the Biden administration, and I'm going to point you out directly, $770, a one-time fucking payment to all those in need. Go fuck yourself. $770 is nothing out there.
Yeah.
Get out and start seeing what America actually is. This is bullshit.
Mhm.
$770? Are you fucking kidding me? That's not going to get them diapers. That's not going to get them food. That's not going to get them anything. That is bullshit.
Oh
You're
yeah. I
giving
mean,
billions of dollars to another country. We have something going on here in our own country where people actually need the help because all of them aren't Hollywood stars out there. They're regular people like you and me. They need more than just $770 on a one-time payment. That is bullshit.
well, okay. So to give people a perspective of some of the issues that's going on here, the Biden administration. Okay, let's see if I can pull it up here. Um, One of the big concerns that people are having, and this isn't just a Biden administration thing. It's just right now it involves the Biden administration because he is the current standing president. But this is something that is a problem with every presidency when it comes to how much money we give to foreign countries.
And
Let's see.
now, folks, I'm just going to say this. Yes, I am a registered Republican. I am, but I'm a realist. I'm a common sensist. I don't care whether you're Democrat, Republican, or plead the fifth. I don't give a shit. If you make sense to me, you make sense to me. But that's a fucking joke. That is an insult. And if I was anybody in LA and my government said, I know you just lost millions of dollars, but here's $700, I'm
Yeah.
going to punch him in the throat. I'm sorry. $770 is not going to take care of all getting back all my property and getting my life straightened back out. Why don't you send the billions of dollars that you're sending overseas to the people who actually fucking need it?
Right. Well, and one thing I never understood with all that is why are we giving money to countries that want to destroy us?
Because just like with natural disasters, war equals money to these people. What's
Oh, for
really
sure.
sick and disgusting is it's not what can we do for America, it's what can we do to fill our fucking pockets, and that is disgusting to me. I've said this before on other shows. Our founding fathers would be rolling in their graves. They probably are. They would be pissed. And I'm not saying we should, but 1776 is sounding pretty fucking good. And I think we should go back to it. Just saying.
Yeah. Now, okay, so I'm reading something here in an article about how much money they gave to Ukraine in just 2024 alone. $175 billion.
And you can't tell me that none of that money could help the US economy. I know with maybe, let's just take maybe 50,000. Just say that.
Hmm.
Just not something extreme. $50,000. Could you use $50,000 right now?
Hmm.
Would that help your situation? It sure as hell help mine. Anybody else in the chat who would turn down $50,000 right now, untaxed? If
Right.
anybody would, by all means, come up here. I want to talk to you.
Well,
because I want $50,000.
remember when COVID first hit and Biden was handing out all that the $2,000 check to everybody? That was part of I think it was a $1.2 trillion program.
Yes.
But when you actually add up the number of citizens qualified to receive that, it was barely a fraction of that. So where the hell did the rest of that money go?
Hunter.
Well, Hunter in his habit, as he's out in Malaysia or Singapore somewhere. You know what? He might have been in Singapore messing around with one of the girls while he was trying to make a deal with TikTok.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it isn't has nothing to do with our privacy issues. It's just Hunter's just pissed. He couldn't get laid. He couldn't even get a Singapore hooker.
Right.
Jim turned him down.
So, but anyway,
welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Great time to come in, Joanne.
And if you haven't caught the disclaimer, I am not responsible for what you may or may not perceive or understand. This is not that kind of show. But anyway, I do appreciate everybody. Right. I do appreciate everybody stopping by. And, I think I'll take this for the real quick moment. If you haven't already, follow my page. Because right now I've already got over 100 followers. I'd like to keep it growing. You can follow me on there. You can join my group. You can follow you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I also have a Rumble channel that I just set up, and I will have that link is in the description. There will be a time where I would do Rumble only stream. So if you want to catch some of that, be sure to check me out on Rumble.
Great platform, by the way.
Yeah. So
Neil, I'll take yours.
Back to the wonderful world of conspiracy, and we're still kind of moving along with the theme of lasers. Project Bluebeam.
Why don't you give a quick history lesson? Since this is
so.
I know you like this because we spoke about this before.
Project Bluebeam. The conspiracy theory behind it is that the U.S. government, or at least certain elements within the U.S. government, as well as others around the world, have come together to create a holographic technology to be able to project, say, take an airplane that's in flight, but have some sort of system within the craft to project the laser beam on the outside, creating a hologram of something else. So making a small plane look like a bomber or whatever the case is. This technology, the holographic technology, has been around for a long time. It's
gotten good.
Real good.
Really fucking good.
So the conspiracy is Project Bluebeam is intended to create some sort of disaster, whether it be a natural disaster, a military disaster, or even a more fantastic idea such as demons or invading aliens. In which case, they would then create something of a Messiah-like figure who would completely destroy everything. And this figure would actually be based on an actual person. They would scan him and then project this person up in the hologram to make it look like this person is either flying or has some sort of, superhuman power. That is the conspiracy behind Project Bluebeam.
Yeah, layman's terms, folks, for that last bit. AI Jesus. AI second coming. Although I want to see that Mel Gibson would be having a lot of fun with that one from The Passion.
Yeah. Now,
thank you. Thanks, Neil.
If that's the case, how likely do you think it is of this project having any range of success with people who already don't trust the system?
You're never going to have any trust.
Yeah, because I mean, I could see that them trying to pull this, back in the late '90s or early 2000s, had the technology been advanced enough back then, because people, we didn't have the tools at our disposal to do the research like we do now with the internet, with all these search engines and social media platforms and other things.
Yeah.
But now nobody trusts the government, nobody trusts the media. Do you think they would try to pull off Project Bluebeam?
Well, I'm just going to say two things. My first thing I'm going to say is the technology and the capabilities, to me, they've been happening. They've been all these UFO sightings, all these different sightings and things, and like angelic figures appearing. And you guys know what I'm talking about. You see it over in the Middle East, or you see them out in bumfuck nowhere in the US. All of a sudden, these angelic figures or whatever. The technology's there. That's obvious. They have to. The question is when are they going to announce it? That's the problem. Right. When are they going to announce this? I feel like they've known for years, that they've had them for years. I mean, look at the Black Hawk. Look at some of the other planes and aircraft that we have now. They were testing them out, and they were coming across as, we don't know what they are. They had deniability up until they said, oh yeah, by the way, that was us. I feel like that it's happened. It is happening now.
I kind of feel like that's what they're doing with the drones in New Jersey.
And it could be. It very well could be. Now, I don't know. I don't think the drones, I think they were actual drones. I 100% believe they were actual drones. The military, plausible deniability, because there is a lot of different bases in that area. And there are some that can go literally hundreds of miles. These drones can. So could it be the government? Probably. They just got caught.
Yeah.
they weren't realizing that people in New Jersey carry a lot of cell phones and are real quick. They have them on a holster. It's like that the guy on TikTok, the Florida phone activate, if you know what I'm talking about. I love that guy, by the way. They just got caught. They're just trying to deny it. That's fine.
Right.
The thing is with something like Bluebeam, they need something to connect us all. There needs to be some sort of event to where we as the population turn to the government for answers. It's kind of like a let the kids run free and do whatever they want. And then when something happens, kids come back to the parents. That's what they're trying to do. They need some kind of unifying event to bring us together and for us to start trusting the government more. And again, what brings people together? Natural disasters, something religious, UFOs. They're testing the waters. They're seeing what they can get away with. That's why all of a sudden, if you notice in the past couple of years, all of a sudden these Air Force pilots, Navy pilots, whoever, they're coming out and saying, hey, we saw UFOs. And nobody batted a fucking eye. The public was like, oh, cool. That was good. Cool for like a week or two. That was a viral thing for like a week or two. And then all of a sudden, gone. They were testing. They're testing the waters to see what is going to set us off. And I'm sorry, but I agree with Neil. Rednecks, we would be shooting them down. It would literally be pull,
Yep.
But they need something.
They actually had the fact that they had to go on mainstream media and social media and tell people to not shoot them down. I thought that was kind of funny for two reasons. One, I do understand the safety concerns about it, because some of these drones are using battery technology that is extremely toxic, and the last thing you want is to have one of them bastards leaking all over your home or somewhere in public.
Yeah.
The other is, and this was a long shot, if they were foreign assets that were armed, the last thing you want to have is potentially a nuclear bomb go off on one of them things when you decide to have one of those pull moments.
All I have to say is, with the whole drone thing, go back to the weather balloon. If you remember the weather balloon over Jersey, didn't take them long to shoot that fucker down, but all of a sudden it's like, protect the drones.
Well, okay, with that balloon, it traveled all the way across America and it went over some sensitive areas.
Yeah, which I found hilarious.
There is an argument that can be made that, the balloon was following a jet stream, which is fine. And I've heard
Very
a lot of
possible.
people say it's impossible that China would use a balloon for a spy asset. Let me ask you this. Would you want to send something that looks like a spy vehicle flying over the country?
All I
Or
have to say is,
or,
if you
or
go
would
back,
you want to send a balloon? Because if somebody sees a balloon, wow, it seems so low tech.
I have to, every time I think about that, I think of the Family Guy episode with Peter being in Vietnam.
Mm.
He's dressed up as a clown. He goes, you guys are stupid. They'll be looking for soldiers.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's just
Same
it.
thing.
And that's the same thing here.
Same thing.
Yeah, who's gonna suspect a big red balloon
It's
as a
Pennywise.
spy vehicle?
Oh, can somebody please do that? Can somebody please, if you're out west, get a big ass weather balloon, paint it red, and put a Pennywise mannequin full size on that damn thing? I want to see that news. I want to see the news on that. I want to see Fox and them just relay that one. That'd be funny as fuck.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Holy shit, he's real.
Well, especially for those that actually suffer from cobraphobia.
The Wicked Queen.
Yeah, you're gonna watch people pass out in the street seeing a flying clown.
And put a speaker on it too. That plays just the laugh and the laugh and everything.
Yep.
Can somebody please do that? Please,
Oh,
for
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Please. Spread the word. The consultant's calling somebody out on the West Coast. RGB, you're from out there. Or even better, Andrea, let's go. Let's take a road trip.
So let's kind of steer this over to big tech. Mark Zuckerberg
Oh, God.
made the
go.
change for fact checking on social media, specifically Facebook. Then he goes on Joe Rogan. And I have never, I mean, honestly, if he wasn't a social media giant, he should be going into politics for how quickly he tried to backpedal on everything.
Why not? Elon Musk did it.
I mean, so here's my thought on the whole flip. When Biden was president, Biden leaned on Facebook, said anybody talk bad about Biden, censor him.
Yep.
Call it hate speech, call it, a violation of community standard, whatever, do whatever you got to do. Okay, fine. Facebook becomes a mouthpiece for the liberal left.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Trump is president, I wonder if he's flip-flopping so that if anybody tries to stop people from talking bad about Trump, they can throw out, well, if you're going to censor us now, then you were not about free speech. And you're not going to be able to, accuse them of doing that during the Biden administration. I almost feel like this whole flip is a setup for anybody that voices support for not just Trump, but any ideology other than the liberal ideology. I feel like this flip is a setup to try to trap people.
Well, I truly believe that. And I also believe that Zuckerberg's trying to get people back into Facebook. Because let's be honest, Facebook does well, but where are a lot of our comments coming from? And even with the Global Ghost Hunt, a lot of our audience was YouTube. It wasn't Facebook. I mean, that may be for one reason or another, but I've been noticing Facebook's kind of been becoming stale.
Mm-hmm.
It really hasn't done much since Meta took over, or they changed their name to Meta, or for some fucking reason they call it that. I don't know. But
Right.
I think one of the reasons why he switched is because of everything going on with TikTok.
Yeah.
He's trying to stay on daddy's good side. And, to be honest with you, yeah, we do have a freedom of speech, which we are allowed to do. But let's be honest. If you have your own site or your own platform and somebody's speaking illy against something that you truly believe in, and I'm not saying Zuckerberg's right or wrong. I'm not. I'm just saying, if you own something, it's like having an employee. If somebody comes on and starts, treating you or treating your employees bad, you're going to take care of that. So we are kind of under their thumb in a sense. I'm not saying that we don't have the right to, because we do have the right to, but they don't also have the right to stop what we say either. They also do have the right to say it's kind of a catch-22.
Right.
Damned if we do, damned if we don't. But to me, the whole thing with the TikTok ban bullshit, that's bullshit, 100%. That is, I completely agree. It's bullshit. They're just pissed because Trump got more support. That's just my thought.
Real quick, Jonathan Myers from Crossover Paranormal is in the audience.
What's up, brother? Love that man.
The guy who had probably the most chill scare reaction. He sent me a video a while back of what he thought was a banshee. And, you know, usually you watch people have their freak outs or get scared. And I will say, Jonathan, you know, for being a big guy like myself, that old boy can move.
Yes, he can. But
even then, he was still crazy chill.
What the fuck was that? Oh, fuck no.
You know, like, first you heard a little verbal reaction, then yep, nope, and go back to a truck, and he's in there quick. And then, yeah, I think we'll just go ahead and get out of here.
I'm just gonna call it a night, guys.
Yeah.
We're hearing some things, and you know, Pop isn't feeling too good, and I don't know what this is, but I'm getting out of here.
Pretty much. I mean, like
and he literally just got the shit scared out of him. I love John.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't think that was it, but yeah.
Oh, I love him. I love him. But you know what's really cool though with him, and not to get off subject, but talking to Jonathan about something he's really passionate about, baseball cards or sports cards. He will sit there and he will talk your ear off, and you see just the grin from ear to ear on how excited this man gets. I mean, he loves the paranormal, don't get me wrong, and he's a hell of an investigator. I've investigated with him. But you get him on like baseball cards, he's like a kid. And just that it's like that innocent, good old boy, like, oh yeah, we're gonna have, you know, he's so super chill and excitable about it, and I love him. I love him. If anybody has an ill thing to say about Jonathan, I'll kick your ass. I'll come to your door.
I mean, the one thing, especially if you get him laughing.
Oh God!
Yeah, good luck getting him to stop.
Oh, we had some good times. Fedora, I don't know if Fedora's in the room, but we had him rolling at the North Carolina. We did the battleship. We were laughing, having a great old time. We, like, for example, we were down in the missile area where they have like all the like big shells and everything like that. And I stood next to it, and this thing is almost as tall as I am. And I was like, I feel like not a man like anymore. I feel so. I was like, I feel so ill-equipped.
You know, what you should have done is you should have had a Tim Taylor moment.
I did, but the Wicked Queen didn't understand that one. Because we were in the, I think we were over the bakery area or something like that. And I was like, if anybody's here, can you make a noise for us? And her ex-girlfriend goes, well, what kind of noise? And I go, oh, oh, oh. And she goes, what the fuck was that? And I'm like, oh, fucking kids.
Yeah. I'm actually going through the whole series again lately. I've been watching it. And now that I'm looking at it as an adult, some of the stuff that, you know, got by me as a younger person, I'm like, geez, no wonder my mom was kind of like,
They got away with a lot of shit. A lot of shit. And I miss that old TV. You look back at some of these old TV shows and it's like, oh, no, that kind of explains a lot.
Well, you know what's interesting, speaking of TV shows, is how The Simpsons predicted almost every major event.
You want to talk about conspiracy? Let's get into that, because I have no fucking idea. I mean, yeah, you could say it's just coincidence. I'm sorry, but once, coincidence, twice, maybe 13, 14 times.
Yeah. Somebody knows something.
I know The Simpsons do and have done a shitload of things, but I mean, you're talking mannerisms, you're talking events to the T, like almost actual reactions. Something's going on.
I mean, there've been a few shows that had, you know, aired episodes that almost seemed prophetic. But The Simpsons just has an unusually high number of those little moments coming to pass. And you know, there's so many intricate things that can be woven into that whole conspiracy. We've all heard of people who take ayahuasca.
Yeah.
People that are able to communicate with things on the other dimension. We have people who claim to be psychic. We have people who uh, claim to have the technology to see the future. Um,
But yeah, no winning lottery numbers.
yeah, there is an experiment. I want to say called. See if I can find it here. But it was an experiment of a laser, of course, but this isn't your typical kind of laser. Let's see. Oh, this is going to be tricky to try to remember how it's spelled and how it's pronounced. But it was a Russian experiment.
Trying to think. I guess I can get rid of Zuckerberg. I have some notes over here for once, folks, but just kind of as a refresher. Give us 1 second. But hey, actually, you know what? While we're talking about this, I have to say Neil just commented Nostradamus predicted all of this. Yeah, but I read that too quickly and I thought it said Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still stuck in Halloween.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
But yeah, Nostradamus, I'll actually point out a couple of things about him.
I thought you were going to say it too. Nosferatu.
But the experiment is called the Kozyrev mirror. And what they did is they took a series of mirrors, and of course, the machining on this has to be precise. But they took a series of mirrors and wrapped it into a spiral. And in the middle, you had, sometimes they would have a chair or a person would stand in there, and they would shoot a beam of light and have that thing spiral around. Now, that's just one aspect. But the issue is that every person who has ever stood inside that have always complained or made a statement of feeling that something was shifting or something was off. That reality wasn't what it seemed, or that they had somehow gone past the barriers of reality. And could something like that be used to see the future? I mean, we all have weird ideas about time and reality and multiple universes. I mean,
to me, time, and even Einstein said this, time is relevant. And it's proven because go to work. 10 minutes at work is definitely a lot slower than 10 minutes in the real world. But time, maybe, but to me, a lot of what I'm seeing, and I'm actually looking at the Wikipedia article, a lot of what they're saying is the same thing you're seeing in the sound deprivation rooms.
Yes, yeah.
And if you go back even further with the Russian sleep deprivation experiment, where they tried to keep people up for days and weeks, that turned out well. Yeah. But you're seeing a lot of the same symptoms. So what I think a lot of this is they're trying to force this. And to kind of relate to anybody still watching, if you're in the paranormal field, when you first started going out investigating, you were not comfortable. Guarantee it. Whether you like the dark or not, you went to your first cemetery in the pitch black of night with no flashlight. You were nervous as fuck. Your butthole was puckered. You were hearing shit. You were seeing stuff that wasn't there or could have been there. And it's the same phenomena. That's all it is. It's the mind's trying to make sense of chaos. And when you're in an experiment like that, especially a reflective surface, you're seeing a lot of shit at one time. Your brain cannot process this. And if you're expecting to have these types of results, you will get those types of results. You are manifesting that energy around you. If you go into like the sound deprivation room, hey, you got called out once, brother. Love you, brother. Love you. But if you go into the sound deprivation room, for example, they say you can hear your blood. They say you can hear everything. If you go in with that mentality that you will freak out, you're gonna freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not saying a strong-willed person can't do it, but what I am saying is if you whatever you're manifesting, whatever you're thinking about, you're gonna manifest it.
Well, that goes into some of the areas that falls in with the whole conspiracy, especially when it comes to government conspiracy. You hear about these projects like MK Ultra. You hear about projects like the Monster Project, which was an actual psychological experiment that was done on children, which was so messed up it should never have happened.
Agreed.
But then you also have the Montauk Project, which is if you don't know what the Montauk Project is, you can check it out. But it's another bad conspiracy involving young people. And all of these have to do with breaking the mind.
Yeah.
Which is the dangerous thing. And this is where it's so important that, we be careful what we listen to. We be careful what we read. We be careful what we study. I mean, and this is especially true with conspiracy theories. We have to be careful.
Yes.
Not everything out there is a conspiracy. Not everything out there is as bad as you think.
No.
And if it's dangerous, exercise caution.
Notice he said don't do it.
Well,
he just said exercise caution.
My personal opinion is that don't do it, but I can't tell people. So.
And if you are going to film it, no,
Yeah.
I'm joking. You go viral for other reasons, and I'm glad you brought me up for this, especially with creepy conspiracies coming up. And we are going to have a show. We just had some technical problems the other night. We need to work out some bugs.
Okay.
But we are going to be doing this, the three of us. But when it comes down to it, and you guys know me, and brother, I know you know me, I love the paranormal, obviously, but I love my conspiracies too, because that's where, again, it's all theory. It's in the name, conspiracy theory. It's theory. But just like with everything else, there is some truth to it.
Right.
The fact is what truth is there? And what I highly suggest to people is if you see or hear something that seems like a conspiracy to you, look at all the facts and resources. Right. All of them. Like, example, when I watch the news, I watch our local news, I watch Fox News, I watch CNN, I watch Bloomberg, I watch them all. But then I watch overseas. Right. I watch the BBC, or I watch Australian news, and I wait and see what they say about these stories. And then I mesh them together, and there's some truth, and it makes more sense. But I'm sorry that I just
no. I was just going to say, be sure to check out overseas sources, because our media isn't going to tell us everything.
No.
And I'll actually kind of wrap up this show with this little thought. No matter what, anytime somebody tells you what to think instead of how to think, you can almost take it to the bank. There's an agenda behind that. So my encouragement to you is, with this show, everything we talked about, take it however you want. If you want to do the research yourself, if you want to, indulge in the idea, if you want to learn more, go for it. If not, you don't have to. Nope. And don't take my word on any of this. All I can say is this is the stuff that I've come across. You need to do the research yourself.
Can I make a little cliff note on that? And just to piggyback off of what you just said. And here's the other thing, folks. Be open for conversation. If anything that him or I have said tonight upset you or offend you, we would be more than happy to come up and honestly have a genuine conversation about it.
Right.
Aaron and I have had conversations like that before, and he's disagreed with some things that I've said or done. I've disagreed with some things that he has said and done. But you know what? We've talked about it. We worked it out, and we had a good conversation. That is called respect. That's where it comes, and that's where something you'll learn something more. We'll get further in the field. We'll get further in our lives if we have an open, genuine, and honest conversation. Ted Lasso, for those of you who don't know what that show is, I highly suggest watching it. And there's one clip, if you don't like the show, there's one clip where he's playing darts, and I think you guys know which one I'm talking about. And he said, people have always questioned me and put me down my entire life, but nobody's asked why. Nobody was curious. Be curious.
Right.
Ask why. Not in a mean way, but seriously go, why? Why do you think like that? Like, Aaron, if you think this way, why do you think like that? What is your motivation to think like that? It's positive. Positive breeds positive. And I just want not to cut you off of what you were saying, brother, but that just tied in, and I just couldn't help myself. But we are open for conversation, not debate, conversation.
And a lot of it also has to do with the fact that we need to remember that even though Matt and I could be looking at the same thing, we could come up with different description for what we're seeing.
And we probably will.
So,
especially in video games.
So when you're having a conversation with somebody, always be aware of the fact that their experience is a key factor in what they believe and why they believe.
Yeah.
So until you've actually had the chance to go through what they've experienced, you may not understand everything that set their position up the way it does. All right. Well, any last shout outs you want to do before I wrap this bad boy up?
I mean, obviously you gave the shout outs to Parapost, to which all your stuff going on. Parabid Studios will be back up and running, folks, here in hopefully a little bit. I'll let you all know. Creepy Conspiracies, you just have to follow Paranormal Consultant. There's no Facebook or YouTube channel yet. There will be. That's where you'll see me and the two ladies go at it and have some fun like this. And obviously, Global Ghost Hunt, we have to give a shout out to those guys. Go check them out. And Health Empowers You. You know what? Everybody up here. Go check out everybody up here. Just do it. Don't take my word for it. Don't let that be a conspiracy. Just go do it. Go check them out. There, shameless plug. Okay. I love y'all. I really do. I love you guys so much, and thank you for your support. And seriously follow this guy. Follow him. Go now.
Well, now hold on. Just know that I have a tendency to cut the brake lines on this raggedy golf cart as I go down rabbit holes. So if you're going to follow me, bring protective gear, shoulder pads, helmet, knee pads, everything.
Thank God you said protective gear and not equipment, because that could have went a couple different ways.
Oh yeah.
A full body condom.
Yeah. If you're going to put that, I don't want to know where you're going if you're going to put that on.
Things get weird.
But yeah, that's it for this show. And I'll just close out with everything with what I say on every show. Getting a little tongue tied here. Be smart, be safe, and be kind to one another. Because you never know, your one act of kindness might change somebody's life.
Yep.
And as always, stay weird.